Welcome to Joa Fitness Health Wellness Video Podcast, a space to ignite your day through positive conversations. We bring people that have created excellence in their life, sharing high vibration in their reawakening path.
Happy Friday! How are you? You are here in Back into Alignment. I'm excited that the sun is out and we are ready to dive deep into topics related to the back, especially when you are having some pain. Yes, we're talking about pain because pain is a teacher and sometimes we ignore it until it becomes a severe issue. So this podcast is actually called Back into Alignment because it's about a reminder there is always a time to come back into alignment. And we interview healthcare professionals every Friday to share knowledge, experiences, case studies, and solutions and tips for you. If you are experiencing neck pain, this is the podcast for you today. The neck pain is actually called the text neck, the tech neck. There are so many ways to call this issue that is happening in the body. Today we have Michelle. She's a physiotherapist here in Toronto, and she has been with us 2 times, and this is her 3rd episode. Super excited to bring her back again. She is a mother of 2 kids, and she loves gardening. And she actually shared with us how she started her career in physiotherapy 25 years ago. Michelle has been dedicated to helping individuals improve their health and well-being for the last 2.5 decades. So it's been a long transition. She became a mother within this time. And now she actually is a director of Physio Plus Health Clinic, which she manages many more physiotherapists and therapists to bring her dream bigger so she can actually help more people. And she has so many hats. And I can't wait to say hi to Michelle. Michelle, how are you?
I'm great. It's Friday. It's sunny out. It's a great day.
Yes. Thank you so much again to be so willing to be with us. I know you are a busy woman. You are already a mother. So just because you're a mother, that's already another job and a half. Plus, you are a physiotherapist and you are managing all these physiotherapists and therapists with you. So I imagine how much work you have. So thank you so much for giving us about 20 to 25 minutes of your time to share this information with us. We have talked in the last 2 episodes about back pain at work, which is something that affects us. I was actually researching that we spend working about 90,000 hours. And most of these 90,000 hours average, we are, I bet, sitting. And sitting is the new smoking. And as we always talk about it, how can we do when we cannot really change much of our activities? Then this is the whole talk. The whole talk is about how can we incorporate and implement different methodologies in our daily life to be able to have a body that can actually sustain our dreams and sustain our body, so actually is able to live an optimal life. And we're not talking about for too long. To be honest, the text neck is actually has been affecting kids. Nowadays, we see already teenagers hunch over and with this long stretch neck because the technology, right, Michelle? So tell us a little bit first about the anatomy on the neck muscles and what is happening with the technology advancing to robots, but not to humans, right? So they don't really think about the technology are coming into the hands of human and they don't really bring us data integration. So tell us first the anatomy of the neck.
So when it comes to the anatomy of the head and neck, you know, we have our head that's sort of balanced on top of our spine. And our heads weigh about 10 to 12 pounds. And so when we're in a nice neutral alignment, we're up nice and tall, our head is in line with our shoulders, our muscles work a minimal amount to be able to sort of keep our head on top of our spine. And that's sort of the ideal posture, right? It kind of balances there. It's the muscles in the front, in the back, and the sides that kind of work together. They work a little bit to kind of hold yourself there. The problem is that life gets in the way. We have our bad habits, our things that we have to do day to day. We're on our phone, we're on our computers, we're on our iPads, all the devices that we're using day to day, our phones. And what happens is our head starts to kind of creep forward as we're using these devices. The problem that that creates is for every inch that our head moves forward, it increases the amount of weight that our muscles have to support. So for every inch, the weight of our head increases by 10 pounds. So 10 pounds is a bowling ball. So for every inch, it's 10 pounds. So 2 inches is two bowling balls. And so the problem is that as our head starts to drift forward, our muscles now have to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard to hold our head up in space. And it's for every single waking moment, right? It's every single activity that we're doing. These muscles have to work harder and harder to just hold our heads up. And over time, that creates a problem because these muscles become chronically overused. They become chronically tight. So, you have people saying to you, oh, no matter how much I try to massage it or stretch it, it feels good in the moment, but then it just keeps coming back. And it keeps coming back because the muscles just never get a break, right? We're in these postures that cause our muscles to work so hard that they're just always tight and they're always cranky and complaining and sore.
Mm-mm. Yes. And actually this morning I talked with so many business owners because I'm a business owner and I'm only 37. And I always admire people that are in a higher level, like you, right? You are working with, how many physiotherapists are you working with in this moment?
So we have 5 or 6 physiotherapists right now, and then we have a team of, we've got a couple of chiropractors, a couple of Pilates instructors, osteopaths. So it's a whole multidisciplinary group. So there's probably around 15 clinicians that are
Yeah, so
working
imagine
together.
you as a woman. I imagine you had an idea, you started yourself, and then you saw the possibility to create a business where you could actually empower your community, more professionals, and get together into a community, and then helping the people around you. And I was talking to a business owner before this call. She talks about health benefits and how she's actually educating businesses about health benefits. Because as we're talking about TechSNEC and all these, we were talking about something that's very, very interesting, is that the companies have this budget and they allocate it for health benefits that sometimes are not even used, or they are not even valuable. They're not that valuable for the employees because they don't do an assessment, they don't do surveys to understand what's happening to the employees. And as she's trying to get deep into this gap that is making the issues happening constantly, where the employees are burned out, even though they have already health benefits, they are burned out because they're not tackling what's the biggest issue, right? So posture is something that has been neglected so much. We think about nutrition and we think about mental health, but there is not much of awareness about posture. And that's why for me, that's my element, the differentiation that I put out there. That's why this podcast is so niche, because it's about something that has been forgotten so much. And as you were talking about TechSNEC, it's something serious. Like if your head is 12 pounds and you move forward 1 inch, now your head is going to be 22 pounds. And then most of people have about 3 inches forward. So we're talking about 42 pounds that your muscle have to somehow to contrarrest. So developing long neck will also constrict your vagus nerve, which is something that people ignore. But the vagus nerve actually controls your parasympathetic, so it makes you feel stressed or calm. So just having a massage, it feels great because it releases the muscles that are actually compressing your vagus nerve. So same with our brain. Like we never think about how our neck is the main bridge of our brain. So if we do have a tense, we are holding tension around our neck. So now we cannot bring flow in our brain. So how you are pretending to your employees to work at the fullest if they are actually not able to physically bring the proper flow and drain and do the whole connection with the brain. So it's actually so interesting when I have these conversations, because I learned so much and things that are ignored in the workplace. And as you were telling, she was telling me, I actually been interviewing massage therapists. And the massage therapists are telling me that the number one area of massages they are receiving for the last 2 years is actually the neck muscles. Mm. So can you please tell us a little bit about the scalene, especially the scalene muscles, which are the front ones? What's happening with these muscles? Are they like weak or they're strong?
So your scalene muscles are these muscles. There are two parts of the muscle that come from sort of the top of the neck up here at the sort of just below your head that go down the side of your neck. And they attach on to the first two ribs right up here around your clavicle, your collarbone. And the scalene muscles are very, very commonly tight. There is not a day that goes by in my practice with my patients where I don't see someone that comes in to see me with tight scalenes. And the reason for that is because when we get into this head forward posture, it brings the scalene muscles into a shortened position. So over time, that head forward posture causes tightness in the scalene muscles. And that's a problem because when your scalene muscles get tight, it contributes to you feeling just generalized tightness in your neck. It can contribute to you feeling tightness and stiffness in the upper part of your back because the scalene muscles attach down in to this first and second rib, which are connected to your spine. And if that part of your spine gets stiff, it contributes to upper back and shoulder blade pain. It can contribute to headaches. So a tight scalene is a huge, huge problem and super common that can cause all sorts of problems and symptoms that we feel day to day.
Mm-hmm. So those muscles, like you were saying, for those that are driving and you're listening to this and are able to see, they are starting on the bottom of the ears, right? And they go right towards the front, mm-hmm. and they meet by the collarbone. And literally, if you are sitting, watching this, no driving, you look up and to your right, and then that's when you're going to feel right away like a pulling. Same thing, if you look up to the left, then you're going to get the feeling on the other side. So this happens a lot of tightness on this. And from your practice as a physiotherapist, and you have so many modalities of what you do, what would be the number one therapy that you suggest to somebody that has a very tight muscles on the neck to do?
So the number one thing I would suggest if you have tight muscles in your neck is to stretch. Sometimes they can get so tight that you try to stretch and it just feels horrible, or you feel like you try to stretch, but you can't get anywhere. And so putting a little bit of heat on your neck before you stretch, like 10, 15 minutes of heat, and then try to do, a little bit of a side stretch and gently sort of going over as far as you can until you just begin to feel a little bit of a gentle pull there, and you hold it there for 30 seconds and repeat a couple of times. That could just, something as simple as that can just get in and release some of that tightness.
Okay, that's what you recommend for people to do at home, which we have talked about creating this as a habitual practice. That means that you set it up in your phone with a particular time that is dedicated for this. Same way as you take appointments, you take clients' calls, you take your kids to school. Same thing, we cannot neglect our body. I mean, it's the vehicle of our life, so we need to take care of it. So particularly myself, I have a 10 in the morning alarm that it makes me stop. Sometimes I'm in calls and it just rings really loud, but it's just a reminder to stretch my neck in the morning. And then I have a second alarm at 3 p.m. to stretch my lateral muscles, which is an standing pose, which I love because I can do it anywhere. I don't have to be in a yoga outfit. So that's something that we recommend you for those listeners that are looking for a practice to do on a daily basis. And what about you in your physiotherapy practice? What therapies are the most effective to release the neck, specifically when it's tight from the forward head posture?
So I find the best way to treat, tightness in your scalenes really is a combination of techniques where there's, hands-on techniques that we use as physiotherapists or osteopaths or chiropractors that can kind of get in and loosen up, like soft tissue release. So you're getting in and breaking down some of the tightness with different hands-on techniques that we use. Physios have those techniques, massage therapists do. osteopaths and chiropractors, we all have different ways of getting in there to release that tightness with our hands. But one thing I've learned is that if you only treat the soft tissue, if you only go in and try to loosen up that tight muscle, you're really only treating maybe 1/3 of the problem. The other part of it is you often, with that forward head posture, we often develop stiffness in the joints in our upper back. And so if you combine that soft tissue release with joint mobilization techniques, which are, again, hands-on techniques as physios or chiropractors or osteopaths that loosen up the stiffness in the joints, together with the soft tissue work, is a great combination. And then if you, on top of that, strengthen the weak muscles that have, in compensation for all the tightness, we develop weakness. And so adding in a little bit of strengthening exercises with all of that hands-on technique can be a really good approach to treating this.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and you commented a technique that is actually using heat to soften the area and then applying the massage. I am a Thai massage therapist. Actually, I learned in 2013 Thai massage. One time I was in the yoga, I'm a yoga teacher, so I went to the yoga conference and I saw this booth with Thai massage people, and I was like, oh, I never tried. And I was like, what is this? This was the best massage ever. I got like these yoga poses. I got to feel deep tissue massage. It's like, this is wow. Then I got so curious. I learned Thai massage. And I remember my masseuse a teacher told me, you're so good. You are so intuitive. You really know how to press. So I actually really loved the whole education. Then I went to Thailand and I took some extra programs in Thailand, which it was more of the traditional practice. And then I did the gua sha in Thailand. Gua sha was very intense. Do you recommend the use of gua sha around the neck, or that would be too invasive?
Oh, geez. I have to be honest with you. I'm not as familiar with that specific technique.
Oh, okay. Gua sha, like you probably have seen this piece. Sometimes it's made out of bone. Yes. So I think when I was in Thailand,
I do know it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was made out of a bone, cow's bone. I have another one made out of wood, and then I have one made out of rose quartz. So it depends of the material. You actually heat up the skin, and then you use a type of oil, and then you kind of like work around the fascia. And sometimes you get this redness as a response of the flow that is actually being compressed. So yeah, you've seen it, right?
Yeah, I do. I have seen it, and I actually use a variation of that. So I know the little tool that you're talking about, and I love it. And in our clinic, we don't have that specific tool, but we have sort of a modern day version of it. And we use that in the clinic with a little bit of lotion to go in, and it's a great technique to release some of the fascial tightness that we see in clinic. Love it. Yeah. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, that one here, I saw it the first time. My physiotherapist used to use it, but it was made out of metal, and it's called FAT tool, FAT, so fascia abrasion tool.
That's how the ones we have are made of metal as well. Yeah. I love them. They're a great, as therapists, we talk about having different tools in our tool belt or our toolkit, because when you have a patient that comes in with pain, there isn't one specific technique or approach that's going to benefit every single patient. And so those types of techniques that use those tools are a great a technique for us to keep in our tool belt, because they're really much easier for us. They save our hands. We're spending so much time using our hands to release things, and those tools are a great way to still get in and release tissue, but it's much easier on our hands, and it allows you to release things in a way that you can't release with your hands. They are amazing.
Yeah, the fingers, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was actually an interesting tool to learn, and also before a talk to have about how massage therapists are putting more effort around the shoulders and the neck. And I also wanted to go deep into that this is not only affecting adults, this is actually affecting kids. In 2023, reports estimate the total number of global smartphone users. Smartphones are used from little toddlers to everybody. And because we are using this phone without the awareness of our posture, we are debilitating our spine. So giving the global population to reach just over 8 billion, 8 in 10 people will be equipped with smartphones. And at this point, almost everybody, I would say almost everybody has a type of device to connect, and also affecting us. And there is also a report that in states, the average time spending on the cell phone is about three hours a day. That's what they say. I feel like it probably twice of that. And this is something that you actually shared with me. 71% are checking the phones within 10 minutes of waking up. Oh my gosh. So that's the first thing we do. We wake up and then we take the phone in our hands, and that's it. We start our day like that. So a reminder for everybody is to take 1 hour off phone, no phone for the first hour when you wake up. And I was always reminding you to meditate. If you can, meditate means sit on your and thinking only about your mind and your body. Like, how do you feel that day? And meditation simply is to connect to yourself, and it may be a 5 minutes of scanning your body from head to toe and see how you're feeling. If anything feels a little bit uncomfortable or anything feels different that day, it could be a 5 minutes scanning. You could practice so many methods that are out there, and I invite you to explore methods. I have done so many. When I was living in Asia, I got to travel all over Asia and got to learn many methods. And I learned one that is 25 minutes. I've been practicing for 7 years and I love it. So far, it's the one that it gives me mobility because it actually moves my body. It gives me breath work. I change the breath 7 times. And then I get to get ideas. Sometimes I'm sitting in that precise time, the first 25 minutes of my day, and I'm in that alpha state where I'm kind of half asleep. And sometimes I get solutions. Sometimes it comes to me, oh, you never thought about this. Maybe this is something to try. So actually, it's a great time for you to connect to yourself and not to the phone. The phone is later. You have 23 hours just to be on the phone if you want to. Yes. Coming back to our chat about using the phones. This is something also important, especially for those parents that are listening to this conversation or teenagers that are listening. Recent figures have been shown that around 87% of teenagers between 14 and 18 years, which I think you have a daughter, right, of that age, in USA, and 79% of teenagers between 12 and 15 in UK own smartphones. That means that most of teenagers, basically, that's the conclusion. Most of the teenagers from 12 years, they already own a phone. So that means that they have that possibly complication already in the neck, and even more because they're growing. So tell us more, Michelle, about how many young patients do you receive, and what is your perspective as a mother with this specific epidemic of the text neck?
It's a huge problem. It's huge, like you said, because it starts at such a young age, right? It's from the age of 12, where it typically be, and sometimes it's even younger. I've certainly seen that, in with my daughter's friends, and people at school. But definitely you see it from a young age. The other problem is just the sheer number of hours that they spend on it, because it's not just a telephone. They're surfing the net. They're on TikTok. They're on Snapchat. It's the way that they communicate 24/7 with their friends. And it's addictive. So they are on it as bad as we are as adults. I think kids are even worse, and they're developing, and it's starting at such a young age that it's setting them up to develop issues that maybe we as adults didn't start to develop until we were in our 30s or 40s. But we're starting to see some of these like postural problems and tightness and stiffness in necks and upper backs at a much younger age. So we definitely, although our practice isn't focused on teenagers with this problem, we definitely are seeing teenagers coming in with forward head posture, stiff necks, stiff upper backs, headaches, and all of those kinds of symptoms because their posture, whether it's, it's on their phone or it's on an iPad or they're watching TV, all of these day-to-day habits that they have that just reinforce this forward head posture for so many hours in a day.
Yes, it's just insane. And again, this is not the first time I have a talk about text neck. I think this is probably the third time within the last 4 years. And if I continue talking about something, I bring more awareness, it's simply because I don't see much of a difference. So you, as a head director of a physiotherapy clinic, what do you think will be one of the key turning points that we need in 2023 to be able to eradicate this issue?
Oh, that is a very difficult question. I think we need to change our mindset where we can't let these devices control us. We have to take control. And like you said, set those boundaries and have times in your day when you don't have your phone and you're not checking. We've got to change it on a fundamental level where we're just changing the way we behave day to day, hour by hour. Because right now it's so integrated in everything we do and everything needs to be done right away. So I think it needs to be a real mindset change where you just consciously have to take that time and say, I'm not going to be checking my phone. I'm putting it away. I've started, instead of bringing my phone up to my bedside table at night, I actually leave it downstairs now, and I don't even bring it upstairs at all. And I've made a conscious effort to not check my email and not check my notifications until I sit down and I'm ready to start working. So it's that kind of like awareness and conscious behavior that I think we need to start trying to integrate into our day.
Totally. That's a great action. Again, yes, Michelle, like you say, it's all about mindset. And like I have a lot of spinal issues, even though people see me from the outside and they see, oh, this is a strong woman. When they hear my story, I used to have a scoliosis, chronic back pain. I just got diagnosed with osteoarthritis, 4 hereditary discs, 1 slip disc. I literally got injected on this steroid to reduce my back pain. Our body is fragile, and it's all about mindset, and it's all about creating actions, like you just said. So make an action. I hope this conversation inspire you to make an action. And if Michelle can actually mention 2 actions as easy as possible to start today to avoid forward head posture, what those 2 actions would be?
Number 1 would be be aware of your posture when you're using these devices. So instead of bringing your head down to your phone, bring the phone up to meet you. Put a little bit of, lumbar low back support to help keep you up a little bit straighter. Number 2 would be manage your time, take breaks. Don't let yourself get stuck in a rut where you're spending hours on these devices. So set reminders, set an alarm. Don't let yourself spend hours on end without getting up and moving.
Exactly. That's good. So you got those two keys. Number 1, to set the screen to the level of your eyes. And number 2, to set this as a must activity to do. So that means that you have to find an alarm or some type of reminder to make it as a habit. It's the only way for us to learn a habit is by repetition, until it becomes so natural. You're like, oh, I'm hunched over. I can feel this. Okay. So yeah, it's all about practice. Again, you have tons of resources in your area. Michelle is here in Toronto. So if you are feeling pain, please don't ignore the pain until it becomes an acute and becomes a chronic pain. Inflammation, it can really kick in really fast. So make sure that you are looking for professionals like Michelle and her team. So many people there supporting you. She also offers webinars every month where she brings specific issues, and actually she offers Q&As for you guys. So the next one is November 28th,
7 p.m. It's all about shoulder pain. The other thing I'll mention as well is that me and my team here, we offer complimentary 15-minute consults for patients. So, like if anybody out there has questions, you're struggling with something, you're not really sure what to do, you're looking for help, but you don't know where to start, give us a call. We can set up a free consultation for you. We're happy to answer your questions and help you out any way we can.
Yes, yes. Why not? Remember, your body is definitely your temple, and we need to take care of the temple because later it's going to be too late. So don't wait until you have a chronic issue to visit a doctor. And number two, there is not a band-aid solution. The solution is on your hands. That's why we are bringing so much attention into nutrition, why nutrition is so important to decrease the inflammation, why setting up lifestyle changes are going to give you the biggest result for a long time. So this is all a holistic approach that we are always taking. So thank you so much, Michelle. I am always happy to have you, and I can't wait to have you one more time chatting about the shoulder problems, which is a second like a consequence of the forward head posture. So thank you, and I can't wait to have you. I'm going to have all your information in the chat box for those that wants to be part of your webinar, and for those that want to be able to visit you if they are here in Toronto. So thank you. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, my friends, I hope you enjoy and you took some notes and start practicing those actions. Remember that together we are stronger. Thank you.
We invite you to subscribe to this channel and share with your community. Please leave comments below, and if you like the episode, click the like button. Have a beautiful day.